Have you ever wondered why you can pick up one new skill like it's nothing, but another one feels, well, totally impossible? It's a puzzle, right? But the answer isn't about how smart you are. It's about a hidden code, a set of rules that our adult brains play by. And today, we're going to crack it. This right here is the master key. At its core, an adult brain is kind of like a ruthless accountant, always asking one simple question: what's in it for me? If it can't find a good, personal reason to learn something, the mental shutters just slam shut. Nothing gets in. Okay, so that's the million-dollar question, isn't it? If having a reason is the key, what actually turns the lock? Is it more money, a new job title, or is it something deeper? Well, a wild story from a factory floor gives us a pretty surprising clue. So picture this. A trainer at a cement factory keeps noticing this one worker is basically falling asleep during job training. So he pulls him aside and asks what's up. The worker says he's just exhausted because he's been staying up all night studying. And get this, he was studying advanced physics from a university textbook. It had absolutely nothing to do with his job, but that's what he was fired up about. That's what he had a reason to learn. The mandatory job training? Yeah, not so much. And this really gets to the heart of the difference. When we're kids, we learn through something called pedagogy. We're basically little sponges, right? The teacher says it, we believe it. But as adults, it's a whole different ballgame called Andragogy. We're in the driver's seat, and we bring this baggage of life experience with us. Every single new idea gets filtered through what we already know, and you better believe we're going to question it. All right, so let's say you're motivated. You've got your why. What does the actual journey of learning look like? Well, a guy named William Howell gave us a fantastic roadmap, and this applies to literally everything, whether it's learning to ride a bike or getting the hang of Excel. It's the path we all take from being clueless to operating like clockwork. Let's use riding a bike as an example. We've all been there. Stage 1 is unconscious incompetence. You don't even know what you don't know. You just fall over. Then it gets painful. You enter conscious incompetence. Oh boy, you are very aware that you can't do this. Every wobble is a massive effort. But you keep practicing and you hit conscious competence. You can do it, but you have to think about every single pedal. And then, finally, the magic happens. You reach unconscious competence. You're just riding, not even thinking about it, maybe even talking to a friend. It's automatic. So we get the motivation part, and now we've got the process. But what's going on under the hood? What are the actual gears turning in our brain that take us from incompetent to competent? To understand that, we need to peek behind the curtain at the big theories of learning. Now, I know what you might be thinking. Oh no, theories. But stick with me here. This isn't going to be some dry academic lecture. The best way to think about these is like different tools in a toolkit. Each one gives us a really useful way to look at how our minds grab onto and hold information. So, first tool in the kit, behaviorism. This one's the most straightforward. You've heard of Pavlov's dog, right? Ring a bell, give the dog food, it salivates. Pretty soon, just ringing the bell makes it salivate. That's behaviorism in a nutshell. It says we learn by responding to the outside world. We do things that get us rewards, and we stop doing things that get us punished. Simple as that. But then Cognitivism comes along and says, whoa, hang on, it's not just about rewards and punishment. It's all about what's happening inside our heads. You know, the thinking part. How we organize information, how we connect ideas, how we solve problems. It's all about the brain's internal filing system and how it processes the world. Next up is Constructivism, and the name kind of gives this one away. The idea is that we don't just absorb information like a sponge, we actively build our own understanding by stacking new knowledge on top of our past experiences. It's why you can't teach a room full of hard-charging bankers the same way you teach a group of careful engineers. They've built their mental worlds on completely different foundations. Now, humanism brings our feelings and our sense of self into the picture. It sees learning as part of our journey to become our best selves, what the psychologist Abraham Maslow called self-actualization. There's this great story about a trainer trying to teach senior doctors. They totally resisted the training because in their world, they were already at the top. They felt self-actualized, and the training felt like a step down. Their identity was wrapped up in the learning process. And finally, we have the theory for right now for our digital world, Connectivism. This one says that learning doesn't just happen inside our own heads anymore. It happens out there, across networks. Think about it. How do you learn something new today? You might Google it, watch a YouTube video, read a blog. The learning is in the connections you make between all those sources of information. Okay, so those are the big frameworks. super useful for understanding learning in general. But let's bring it all back home, because this isn't just theory, it's deeply personal. Let's talk about you, specifically how you like to learn. Because it really doesn't matter how great the information is. If it's not delivered in a way your brain is wired to receive it, it's just gonna bounce right off. Finding your own personal learning compass, well, that's a total game changer. And check this out. This data is just staggering. A whopping 83% of the information we retain comes in through our eyes. Hearing? Just 11%. I mean, that tells a really clear story, doesn't it? We are, at our core, intensely visual creatures. But even though sight is king, we all have a preferred way of taking things in. Are you visual? Do you need to see charts and diagrams? Are you auditory, learning best when you can hear someone explain it or talk it out? Maybe you're a reading/writing learner who needs to take tons of notes. Or maybe you're kinesthetic. You can't really get it until you roll up your sleeves and physically do it. Just take a second. Which one of those feels most like you? So look, all of this isn't just for teachers or corporate trainers. Understanding your own motivation, knowing the stages of mastery, and figuring out your personal learning style, that's a superpower. Seriously, it's like someone just handed you the owner's manual for your own brain. So now you have the keys. You've cracked the code. You know that motivation is the engine, and you know what kind of fuel your brain runs on best. So the only real question left is, what are you going to build? What new journey will you unlock first?